The afternoon sun slants through the windows of a small living room in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The year is 2025. On the wall hangs a faded photograph from 1886, a Colt 45 single-action Army revolver mounted in a shadow box, and beneath it, preserved in glass, a single eagle feather, white with a black tip. Thomas Cole Brennan sits in his leather armchair, 82 years old now, his hands gnarled from a lifetime of hard work, but still steady. Across from him, his great-grandson Ethan, 17, leans forward with the restless energy of youth. "Grandpa," Ethan says, gesturing at the eagle feather, "you've never told me the real story about the iron cage." Old Cole's eyes, still sharp despite their years, drift to the feather. A long silence fills the room. When he finally speaks, his voice carries the weight of decades. "Some stories," he begins slowly, "you don't tell until you're ready to face what they mean. I've been carrying this one for 69 years. Maybe it's time." He shifts in his chair, and his gaze goes distant, looking not at the room around him, but at something far away and long ago. "It was August of 1886. I was 41 years old, and I thought I knew who I was." His voice changes then, drops lower, becomes the voice of a younger man. "I was wrong." The room seems to fade, the present dissolves, and the past rises up like desert heat. Socorro, New Mexico territory, August 14th, 1886. The Dead Horse Saloon smells of stale beer, tobacco smoke, and broken dreams. Thomas Cole Brennan wakes with his face pressed against a poker table, the texture of rough wood imprinted on his cheek. His mouth tastes like he's been chewing copper pennies in despair. The morning light, slanting through the dirty windows, feels like punishment. Cole pushes himself upright, every joint protesting. He's 41, but right now he feels 70. His fingers go automatically to his pockets. Empty. All of it gone. The $23 he'd scraped together from selling off another piece of tack from the ranch. Lost in a game he barely remembers playing. Big Martha, who owns the saloon, stands behind the bar. She's a formidable woman, 6 feet tall in her stockings, with arms like a blacksmith and a heart that gave up on mercy years ago. She crosses those arms now and fixes Cole with a look that could strip paint. $32, Brennan," she says. Her voice has all the warmth of January wind. "That's what you owe me. Room, whiskey, and the damage you did to my good chair when you threw it at Pete Hansen." Cole has no memory of throwing a chair at anyone. This doesn't surprise him. There's a lot he doesn't remember these days. "Give me 2 days, Martha." His voice comes out rough, scraped raw. "I'll get your money." "You said that last week." She leans forward, hands flat on the bar. "And the week before, and the week before that. I'm done waiting, Cole. You pay up by Saturday or I'm coming to collect from whatever's left of that ranch of yours." The ranch. The word hits him like a fist. Sarah's ranch. The land they'd built together from nothing. The only thing he has left of her besides memories that hurt too much to touch. He stands, reaches for the Colt 45 on his hip. Not to threaten, just to check. The weight of it is familiar, comforting. A Colt single-action Army, model 1873. He'd bought it new 14 years ago, back when he still had money and a future. The walnut grip is smooth from years of use, the blued steel showing wear but still solid. 6 rounds of 45 long Colt ammunition. Each cartridge costs 4 cents. He has exactly 24 cents worth of firepower to his name. His knife, a Bowie with a 12-inch carbon steel blade, rests in its sheath on his left hip. He'd forged it himself years ago, before Sarah died, before everything turned to ash. The handle is wrapped in leather he'd tooled with his own hands. It's one of the few things he hasn't sold or lost or thrown away in a drunken rage. The saloon door swings open. Bright sunlight floods in, silhouetting a figure too small to be trouble. But Cole knows that silhouette, knows it like he knows his own heartbeat. Jacob. His son walks into the Dead Horse like he owns it, 14 years old and trying hard to look older. He's dressed in his work clothes, patched but clean. The boy's shoes are held together more by hope and rawhide than by their original stitching. In his hands, Jacob carries an envelope, official-looking, the kind that brings bad news. The boy's eyes find Cole's across the room. There's something in that look that makes Cole want to turn away. Not anger, anger he could handle. This is worse. This is disappointment so deep it's become acceptance. Pa, Jacob says quietly. He doesn't comment on finding his father in a saloon at 8 in the morning. He's long past that. This came from the county clerk. He holds out the envelope. Cole takes it with fingers that try not to shake. He knows what it is before he opens it. He's been dreading this for months. Tax assessment, Brennan Ranch, due 200, payable within 30 days of August 1st, which means he has 16 days. $200 might as well be 2,000. He hasn't seen that kind of money in 4 years. Not since Sarah died and he started finding answers in whiskey bottles instead of in the work that needed doing. Pa, Jacob says again, and this time there's a crack in the carefully maintained calm. We're gonna lose it. Everything Ma worked for. Everything she built. Cole looks at his son, really looks at him. The boy has Sarah's eyes, warm brown with flecks of gold. Eyes that used to look at Cole like he hung the moon. Now they just look tired. I'll figure something out, son, Cole hears himself say. The lie tastes familiar on his tongue. You always say that. Jacob's voice is steady, but his hands clench the brim of his worn hat. But you never do, Pa. You just drink, and things get worse, and Ma's dream dies a little more. The words land like blows. Clean, precise, true. Cole opens his mouth, closes it. What can he say? That he's trying? He's not. That he'll change? He won't. That he's sorry? Sorry doesn't pay taxes. Sorry doesn't keep a roof over his son's head. Sorry is just another word for failure. Jacob waits 5 seconds. 10. Then he nods once, sharp and final, and turns to go. Jacob, Cole calls out. His voice cracks on the name. The boy stops at the door but doesn't turn around. I promise, Cole says, I'll fix this. Jacob's shoulders rise and fall with the breath too heavy for a 14-year-old to carry. He walks out without another word. The door swings shut behind him with a sound like judgment. Martha's voice cuts through the silence that follows. That boy deserves better than you, Brennan. I know, Cole says quietly. And because the truth is the only thing left that doesn't cost money, he adds, God help me, I know. He's still standing there, holding the tax bill like it's a death sentence, when the saloon door opens again. The man who walks in is not from Socorro. You can tell by the way he moves, by the confidence that comes from knowing violence and winning at it. He's big, pushing 50, with shoulders that fill the doorframe. A scar runs from his left ear down to his jaw, white against tan skin. His clothes are good quality, well maintained. His gun belt holds a Remington revolver with walnut grips, oiled and cared for. This is a man who has money, and men with money in places like Socorro usually want something. He walks straight to Cole, spurs chinking with each step. Up close, his eyes are the color of dirty ice. Thomas Cole Brennan, the man says. Not a question, a statement. Cole's hand doesn't move towards his gun, but every muscle in his body tightens. Depends on who's asking. Name's Marcus Holcomb. He gestures to the bar. Buy you a drink? I don't drink anymore. The lie comes easier with practice. Holcomb's smile doesn't reach his eyes. That's not what I hear, but suit yourself. I'm here about work. I don't hire out. Didn't say you hired out, said I have work, 3 days, guard duty, $250. The number lands like a thunderclap. Cole keeps his face neutral, but his heart kicks against his ribs. $250 would pay the taxes, would buy Jacob new shoes, would give them breathing room for the first time in years. What kind of guard duty? Cole asks carefully. Holcomb pulls out a chair, sits without invitation. Simple job. I've got a prisoner, Apache woman. Needs watching while my boys and I handle some business in Denver. 2, maybe 3 days. You keep her alive and in one piece, you get paid. Every instinct Cole developed in 8 years as a cavalry scout starts screaming. This smells wrong, wrong in ways he can't quite name yet. Why not use your own men? Because they're coming with me to Denver. Holcomb's patience has an edge now. And because I'm offering you more money than you've seen in years. Don't overthink it, Brennan. It's a simple job for simple pay. Cole should say no, should walk away, should remember that easy money always costs more than it's worth. But then he thinks of Jacob's eyes, of the tax bill, of the ranch slipping away like water through his fingers. What did she do? The question comes out before he can stop it. Holcomb's face hardens. Does it matter? It should. Cole knows it should. He can almost hear Sarah's voice in his head, telling him that some things matter more than money. But Sarah's voice has been getting quieter every year, drowned out by whiskey and regret. Guess not, Cole says quietly. Smart. Well, Holcomb reaches into his vest, pulls out a leather pouch. It hits the table with the solid clink of silver. $50 now. Rest when the party's done. Meet me at Redstone Canyon, 35 miles north on the old Rio Grande Trail. Be there by noon tomorrow. He stands, straightening his hat. One more thing, Brennan. She speaks English. Better than you'd expect. Don't let her talk to you. Don't let her get in your head. These Apache women, they've got a way of twisting things, making you forget why you're there. Cole's hand is on the pouch before Holcomb finishes speaking. The weight of it feels like salvation, feels like damnation. Keep her breathing, Holcomb continues. Keep her secured. 3 days, that's all. Think you can handle that? Cole's fingers tighten on the pouch. He thinks of Jacob's disappointed eyes, of Sarah's grave with its simple wooden cross, of the ranch they'd built together, day by day, dream by dream. Yeah, he says, I can handle that. Holcomb nods once and walks out, leaving Cole alone with $50 silver and the growing certainty that he's just made a terrible mistake. Martha's voice breaks the silence. Apache woman in a cage. That what you've come to, Brennan? Cole doesn't answer. Can't answer. He pockets the pouch and walks out into the bright, merciless sun of a New Mexico morning. The ride back to the ranch takes an hour. Cole's horse, a chestnut mare named Copper, knows the way by heart. She's 16 years old, same age as his marriage would have been. Sarah had helped him break Copper as a 3-year-old filly. The mare's coat has more gray now, her step not quite as spry, but she's steady, reliable. One of the few things in Cole's life that hasn't failed him. The Brennan Ranch sits in a small valley with decent water from a spring-fed creek. It's not much, never was. 200 acres, most of it too rocky for anything but grazing. The house is small, built from cottonwood logs that Sarah had insisted on treating with linseed oil every 2 years to keep them from rotting. She'd built this place. Oh, Cole had swung the hammer and cut the timber, but it was Sarah's vision that shaped it. Sarah's determination that kept it alive through droughts and hard winters and the 100 small disasters that kill most small ranches. And then the plague had come. Bubonic plague, brought by rats on a freight wagon from California. The doctor had called it that, speaking the words like they were a foreign language. All Cole knew was that Sarah had developed a fever on a Monday, black swellings under her arms by Tuesday, and was dead by Sunday. 6 days. That's all it took for the center of his world to collapse. Jacob is in the corral when Cole rides up, mending fence. The boy works with the steady competence of someone twice his age. Has to, because his father stopped being reliable 4 years ago. Jacob, Cole calls out. His voice sounds strange even to himself. The boy looks up, face carefully neutral. Waiting. Cole dismounts, pulls the leather pouch from his pocket. He counts out $30 in silver, holds it out. For the taxes, he says. It's a start. And get yourself new shoes. And food. Real food, not just beans and hardtack. Jacob stares at the money like it might bite. Where'd you get this, Pa? Took a guard work. 3 days. I'll be back Tuesday. What kind of guard work? Jacob's eyes search his father's face, looking for the lie underneath. Cole can't quite meet that gaze. The paying kind, that's all that matters. That ain't all that matters. Jacob takes the money slowly, his jaw set. Ma used to say, how you earned it matters just as much as how much you earn. The words sting because they're true, because Sarah did say that, because Cole used to believe it too. I'll be careful, Cole says instead of arguing. Jacob looks at him for a long moment. Then quietly, what are you guarding, Pa? Cole's mouth opens, closes. The lie won't come. Not to this boy, not to Sarah's son. A prisoner, he finally says. Just need to watch her for 3 days while the man who hired me goes to Denver. Her? Something shifts in Jacob's face. A woman? Apache woman. She's dangerous, apparently. Killed some men. Jacob's expression goes strange, confused and troubled, and something else Cole can't quite read. And you're going to keep her locked up? That's the job. For money. For $250, Cole says, and hates how defensive he sounds. For the ranch. For you. Jacob is quiet for so long that Cole almost walks away. Then the boy speaks, and his voice is soft, but somehow that makes it cut deeper. Ma wouldn't want this. You know she wouldn't. The truth of it hits like a physical blow. Sarah would have spit in Holcomb's face and thrown the money back. Sarah would have asked questions, would have cared. But Sarah's dead, and the living have to make do with compromises. I know, Cole says quietly. But Ma's not here, and the taxes are due in 16 days. This is what we've got. Jacob nods slowly. He pockets the money, then looks his father straight in the eye. Is this the man you want me to become, Pa? Someone who does wrong things for the right reasons? The question hangs in the air between them like smoke. I don't know, Cole finally admits. I don't know what kind of man I am anymore, son. I'm just trying to keep us afloat. Jacob turns back to the fence, picks up the wire cutters. Over his shoulder, without looking back, he says, Be careful, Pa. Not just with the danger, with your soul. Cole stands there for a long moment, watching his son work. Then he goes into the house to pack. The house is small, one main room with a stone fireplace, a bedroom barely big enough for a bed, and a loft where Jacob sleeps. Everything is clean because Jacob keeps it that way. Sarah's touches are still everywhere. The quilt she made from scraps, the shelf she'd carved with the flowers, the rocking chair where she'd nursed Jacob as a baby. Cole tries not to look at these things, tries not to remember. He packs his saddlebags with 3 days of provisions, dried beef jerky, hardtack biscuits that taste like salted cardboard but keep forever, coffee grounds wrapped in cloth, his canteen filled from the creek, a spare shirt, extra ammunition, 20 rounds of .44-40 for the Winchester and 12 rounds of long Colt for the revolver, all bought on credit from the general store 2 months back. He adds his bedroll, his Winchester rifle, the leather ground sheet that's kept him dry through 100 nights in the open. Before he leaves, he stands in front of the small mirror Sarah had hung by the door. The man looking back is a stranger, 41 years old but looking older, weathered skin, eyes that have forgotten how to hope, stubble on his jaw because he can't be bothered to shave regularly anymore. This is what grief looks like, he thinks. This is what giving up on yourself does to a man. He tears his eyes away from the mirror. Can't stand to look anymore. It's 3 in the afternoon when he rides out. The August sun beats down with physical weight. The temperature is already over 100 degrees, and it's only going to get hotter. Jacob watches from the porch. He raises one hand in farewell. Cole raises his in return. Neither of them smiles. The last thing Cole sees as he rides away is his son standing there alone, surrounded by everything Sarah had built and everything Cole is failing to preserve. The ride north follows the old Rio Grande Trail, though the trail has seen better days. The Army used to maintain it back during the Indian Wars. Now it's just another scar across the desert, slowly being reclaimed by creosote bushes and sage. The landscape is stark, beautiful in the way that only the desert can be. The Chihuahuan Desert stretches in every direction, decorated with ocotillo plants raising their spiny arms to the sky. Prickly pear cactus bearing fruit that the Apache know how to eat, but most white men won't touch. To the west, the Magdalena Mountains rise purple and distant, their peaks touching 10,000 feet. Cole knows this country, spent 8 years as a cavalry scout, from 1870 to 1878, tracking Apache raiders and trying not to get killed. He'd been good at it, good enough that the Army wanted him to re-enlist when his term was up. But by then he'd met Sarah. The memory comes unbidden, sharp and clear, despite the years. Fort Craig, 1871. Sarah Morrison, the sutler's daughter, selling supplies to soldiers who spent their pay as fast as they earned it. She'd had honey-colored hair and a laugh that sounded like bells, and the first time Cole saw her, he'd known. They'd married in 1871. Jacob had come a year later. Cole had left the Army in 1878, bought the ranch with his mustering out pay and a loan from Sarah's father. They'd been happy. Poor but happy, building something together. making plans. And then the plague came and Sarah died, and all the plans turned to dust. Cole shakes his head, trying to dislodge the memory. Thinking about Sarah only leads to drinking, and he needs to be sharp for this job. Needs to be clear-headed. The trail follows the Rio Grande for a while, though the river itself is out of sight behind the cottonwood trees. This time of year, in August, the water is low. By September, it will be even lower. The drought has been going on for 3 years. Another reason so many ranches are failing. After 2 hours of riding, Cole stops to water copper at a small creek that feeds into the river. The mare drinks gratefully. Cole refills his canteen, wipes his face with a damp cloth. The heat is oppressive, the kind that makes you feel like you're breathing through wet wool. He eats a piece of jerky, forces himself to chew slowly. His stomach isn't interested in food, hasn't been for years, but he knows better than to skip meals in this heat. While Copper rests, Cole checks his weapons. The Winchester is a lever-action rifle, 44-40 caliber, purchased new in 1873. It holds 15 rounds in the tube magazine. Cole keeps it loaded with 13 because a full magazine can create too much spring tension and cause feeding problems. 13 is unlucky in cards, but reliable in a rifle. The afternoon wears on. The sun tracks across the sky with cruel indifference. Cole's shadow shrinks, then starts to lengthen again as the sun slides toward the western mountains. By 5 in the afternoon, he can see Redstone Canyon in the distance. The canyon is well named. The walls are sandstone, stained deep red by iron oxide, rising about 250 feet from the desert floor. Wind and water have carved them into fantastic shapes over millions of years. The Apache consider this place sacred, or they used to before most of them were killed or driven onto reservations. Cole has been here before, years ago tracking raiders. He knows the layout. A single narrow entrance, maybe 8 feet wide, leading into an oval space about 120 yards across. The walls are sheer, unclimbable without equipment. It's a natural fortress, also a natural trap, depending on which side of the entrance you're on. He rides closer. The entrance appears like a crack in the canyon wall, dark and uninviting. Cole dismounts, leading Copper on foot. Her hooves click against the stone. The sound echoes strangely. He passes through the narrow gap. The walls rise on either side, close enough that he could touch both at once if he stretched. Then the passage opens up into the central space. The first thing he sees is the cage. It squats in the center of the canyon like a monument to cruelty. 6 feet wide, 6 feet deep, 7 feet tall. Made of iron bars as thick as Cole's thumb, painted black. The paint blistered and flaking from the desert heat. No roof, no shade. Just bars in the merciless sun beating down. Inside the cage, a figure sits motionless. 2 men lounge nearby, playing as charades on a flat rock. They look up as Cole enters. One is tall and lean, the other short and thick. Both wear guns with the casual familiarity of men who have used them. The tall one stands, stretching. "You, Brennan?" "That's right." "Luther Pike." He gestures to his companion. "That's Virgil Kane. Holcomb said you'd be along." Pike is in his mid-30s, with a narrow face and eyes that never quite meet yours directly. His voice has a nasal quality, like he's always slightly congested. Kane is younger, maybe 30, with the kind of face that looks mean even when it's trying to smile. "She give you any trouble?" Cole asks, though he hasn't looked at the cage yet, hasn't let himself. "Quiet as a grave." Pike laughs at his own joke. "Been like that since we penned her yesterday. Thinks she knows what's coming." Kane spits tobacco juice into the dust. "Good luck, Brennan. 3 days with that Hellcat is gonna feel like 3 years." Pike pulls a canvas sack from beside the rock, brings it to Cole. "Water, 2 gallons, food for 3 days, hardtack and jerky, same as you probably brought. Key to the lock." He drops a heavy iron key into Cole's palm. It's warm from the sun, rough with rust at the edges. The weight of it seems too much for such a small object. "Give her water twice a day," Pike continues. "Food, morning and night. Don't be generous with either. And Brennan," his voice drops lower, "don't listen to her. She'll try to talk. Try to get you sympathizing. Remember she killed 3 men. Gutted one like a fish. She's savage as they come." Cole nods slowly. He still hasn't looked at the cage. hasn't let himself see what he's been paid to guard. Kane and Pike gather their gear with practiced efficiency. 2 bedrolls, a coffee pot, saddlebags. They mount their horses, both riding bays that look better fed than most people in Socorro. "We'll be back Tuesday afternoon," Pike says. 2 full days, maybe into the third. Keep her alive and unmarked. Holcomb was real clear on that. She's worth money in Denver. Damaged goods are worth less. Worth money. Like she's a horse or a sack of grain. They ride out through the narrow entrance. Pike paused at the canyon entrance. Turned back. "One more thing, Brennan. If some lawman comes asking questions about exhibitions or prisoners, you don't know nothing. Holcomb's got a federal marshal sniffing around our business. Pain in the ass." He spat into the dust. "Probably nothing, but keep your mouth shut if anyone asks." Then he spurred his horse and disappeared through the gap, the sound of hoofbeats fading quickly. Then there's only silence, the kind of silence the desert specializes in. Heavy, waiting. Cole still hasn't looked at the cage. He busies himself setting up a small camp. Unrolls his bedding in the shade of a large boulder 20 feet from the cage. Gathers deadwood from scrubby mesquite bushes that somehow survive in this harsh place. He'll need a fire tonight. Desert nights get cold, even in August. He's seen it drop 40 degrees between sundown and dawn. He checks on Copper, makes sure she has water. The mare nuzzles his shoulder. She's been with him through everything. Through Sarah's death. Through the long slide into drinking and despair. If horses could speak, Cole thinks she'd have plenty to say about the man he's become. Finally, there's nothing left to do. No more tasks to occupy his hands. No more excuses. Cole turns and looks at the cage, and his breath catches in his throat. The woman inside is Apache, no question. But she's not what Holcomb's words had led him to expect. Not some snarling savage. Not a monster. She sits cross-legged in the far corner of the cage, her back against the bars. Her skin is the color of burnished copper, dusty from days without washing. Her hair is black as a raven's wing, long, reaching past her waist, tangled with bits of desert grass and dried blood. She wears a buckskin dress, once pale tan, but now stained and torn. The traditional Apache style, decorated with simple geometric patterns near the hem. Her moccasins are worn nearly through. Around her wrists, manila rope, half-inch thick, binds her hands in front of her. The rope has rubbed her skin raw. Dried blood crusts the edges of the abrasions. Her face is angular, high cheekbones that catch the light, a straight nose, lips pressed thin. She has bruises on her face, around her eyes, on her jaw. Recent bruises. Someone has hit her more than once, but it's her eyes that stop Cole in his tracks. Dark brown, almost black, with small flecks of gold that catch the late afternoon sun. They look directly at him, not pleading, not afraid, just looking, seeing. And in that look, Cole feels something shift inside him. Some wall he's built carefully over 4 years of drinking and grief and self-loathing begins to crack. Because those eyes don't hold hatred, they hold something worse. They hold understanding. Recognition. She sees exactly what he is. A man who sold his conscience for $250. A man who's chosen survival over decency. A man who'll put another human being in a cage because his son needs shoes and his ranch needs taxes paid. She sees all of this in a single look, and she doesn't flinch, doesn't judge, just sees. Cole realizes he's been standing frozen for too long. He forces himself to move, to do something. He picks up one of the canteens, walks toward the cage. 20 feet, 15, 10. The heat radiating from the iron bars is intense even at this distance. He can't imagine what it must be like inside. "I'm going to give you water," he says. His voice comes out rougher than he intended. She doesn't respond, doesn't move, just watches. Cole approaches the cage door. It's secured with a heavy padlock, the kind used on prison cells. The key Pike gave him fits smoothly. He considers unlocking it, opening the door to pass the water through. Then he remembers Holcomb's warning. She killed 3 men. Instead, he sets the canteen down and pushes it between the bars. It barely fits through the gap, scraping against the iron. You need to drink, he says. It's going to get hotter before it gets cooler. Still no response. The woman watches him with those unsettling eyes. Cole steps back, waits. Nothing happens. She doesn't move toward the water. Suit yourself, he mutters, and returns to his camp. He sits on his bedroll, back against the boulder, and pulls out his Bible. It's Sarah's Bible, actually. She'd read it every night. After she died, Cole had tried to find comfort in it, but the words just made him angry, talking about mercy and grace, and a God who supposedly loved his children, but let them die of plague in 6 agonizing days. He opens it anyway, more from habit than faith. The pages fall open to Ezekiel. His eyes scan the text without really reading. Minutes pass. The sun continues its slow descent toward the western mountains. The temperature drops slightly, from unbearable to merely oppressive. Then he hears it, a voice, speaking English, clear and precise. You are not like them. Cole's head snaps up. The Apache woman is looking directly at him. She hasn't moved otherwise, still sits in the same position. But now she's speaking. Not yet, she continues. Her voice is low, melodic despite the roughness of thirst. But you will become like them. I have seen it many times. Good men turn blind when they stop listening to what is right. Cole's throat goes dry. Holcomb said she spoke English, but hearing it is different. It makes her real in a way that silence didn't. I'm just doing a job, he says. The words sound weak even to himself. Yes, her eyes don't leave his. That is what they all say. Just doing a job. Just following orders. Just trying to survive. She pauses, and something that might be sadness flickers across her face. And one day they wake up and realize they have become the evil they thought they were only serving. The words hit harder than any fist. Cole wants to argue, wants to defend himself. But how can he? She's right. He knows she's right. He looks away first, unable to hold that steady gaze. When he looks back, she has moved. Not much, just enough to reach the canteen. She drinks slowly, carefully, making the water last. Cole watches her drink and feels something he hasn't felt in 4 years. Shame. Pure, burning shame that makes his skin feel too tight and his chest too small. He's keeping a woman in a cage in the desert heat, a woman who's done nothing to him. A woman who, from the look in her eyes, might be innocent of whatever crimes Holcomb claims she committed. And he's doing it for money. The sun touches the tops of the western mountains, turning them gold and crimson. Shadows lengthen across the canyon floor. The temperature begins to drop in earnest now. Cole stands, begins gathering the deadwood he collected earlier. He builds a fire in a ring of stones, uses his striker to coax sparks into tinder. The fire catches, grows, pushes back the gathering darkness. He makes coffee in his tin pot. The smell of it is familiar, comforting. He drinks it black and scalding, welcoming the burn. Across the fire, past the dancing flames, the cage sits in shadow. He can barely see the woman inside now, just a darker shape against the dark bars. But he can feel her watching, can feel the weight of her judgment, though she said nothing more. The stars come out, thousands of them, millions, the Milky Way, a river of light across the black sky. In the distance, a coyote howls, then another answers, then a whole chorus of them, singing to the night. Cole hears movement from the cage, the woman shifting position, the chains rattling softly, and then, quiet as a prayer, he hears her voice again. Coyote is my brother, she says to the darkness. Trickster, survivor. He adapts to whatever the world brings, like my people have always done. A pause. Like you are trying to do. Cole doesn't respond, doesn't know how. But Coyote survives because he is clever, she continues. Not because he abandons his nature. When he stops being true to himself, he dies. The fire crackles. Sparks rise into the night sky, mimicking stars. What's your name? Cole asks. The question surprises him. He hadn't planned to talk to her, but the words came out anyway, silence. Then, why do you wish to know? Because you're not just a job, and I'm tired of pretending you are. More silence, longer this time. Then, Nayland. The name sounds like music, like water over stones. I'm Cole, he says, Thomas Cole Brennan. I know, the men who brought me here said your name. Said you were a soldier once, a scout who hunted my people. The truth of it sits between them like a physical thing. Yeah, Cole admits quietly. I was, long time ago. And now you are a jailer. Now I'm just trying to survive. Survival at the cost of your soul is not survival. Her voice is gentle, but the words cut deep. It is slow death. Cole has no answer to that. He drinks more coffee, stares into the fire, and tries not to think about how right she is. The night deepens. The temperature drops. Cole pulls his blanket around his shoulders. In the cage, he can hear Nolan moving, trying to find a comfortable position on the hard ground. He thinks about giving her a blanket, but that would mean opening the cage, and he's not ready for that. Not yet. Maybe not ever. So instead, he lies down on his bedroll and stares up at the stars and tries to ignore the sound of a woman shivering 20 feet away. Sleep doesn't come easy. When it finally does, his dreams are full of Sarah's disappointed eyes and Jacob's quiet questions. In a cage he can't seem to escape, no matter how far he runs. Cole wakes to the sound of singing. The sky is still dark, but the eastern horizon shows the first pale promise of dawn. The air is cold, maybe 50 degrees, and his joints ache as he pushes himself upright. The singing comes from the cage. Nalin stands facing east, her bound hands raised toward the coming sun. The song is wordless, a melody that rises and falls like wind through canyon walls. It's unlike anything Cole has ever heard. Not a hymn, not a work song, not a ballad. Something older. Something that predates churches and borders and cages. He watches in silence, feeling like an intruder on something sacred. The first ray of sunlight breaks over the eastern mountains, painting the canyon walls gold. The moment it touches Nalen's upraised hands, she stops singing. She stands there for a long moment, perfectly still, as if listening to something Cole can't hear. Then she lowers her hands and sits back down, cross-legged, eyes closed. Cole realizes his coffee pot is empty. He'd drunk all the coffee last night and hadn't bothered to make more. His head aches from poor sleep and the lingering effects of too many nights drowning in whiskey. He stands, his back complaining about the hard ground. At 41, he's too old to sleep on rocks and call it comfortable. Time was he could bed down anywhere and wake up ready to ride. Those days are gone. The fire is dead, just gray ash and a few stubborn coals. Cole adds kindling, coaxes the coals back to life, builds the fire up again. He fills his coffee pot from one of the canteens, sets it on the stones at the fire's edge. While the water heats, he walks to the edge of the canyon, looks out at the desert awakening. The light is soft now, kind, before the sun gains enough height to punish everything it touches. He can see for miles. The Rio Grande Valley to the east, the Magdalena Range to the west. Somewhere south, 35 miles away, Jacob is probably just waking up. Probably wondering if his father is keeping his promise or breaking it like he's broken so many others. Your son, Nalen's voice comes from behind him. He has your eyes, but someone else's kindness. Cole turns. She's moved to the front of the cage, hands resting on the bars. In the morning light, the bruises on her face are more visible, purple and yellow, the colors of healing violence. You don't know anything about my son, Cole says, but there's no heat in it. I know he came to find you yesterday, before you left. I know he is young but carries himself with the weight of responsibility. I know his eyes held disappointment when he looked at you. Cole's jaw tightens. How could you possibly know that? Because I saw the same look in your eyes when you told me your name. The look of a man disappointed in himself. The coffee pot starts to bubble. Cole turns away, grateful for the excuse. He pours a cup, drinks it black and bitter. It tastes like punishment, which feels about right. I have food, he says after a moment. Jerky and hardtack. Not much, but it's what there is. I would eat, Nalen replies. Thank you. The gratitude in her voice makes him flinch. She shouldn't be thanking him. He's her jailer, not her friend. He pulls the jerky from his saddlebag. It's tough as boot leather, salty enough to make your eyes water. He breaks off a piece for himself, then takes the rest to the cage. This time he unlocks the padlock. His hands are steady despite the rapid beating of his heart. He swings the door open just wide enough to pass the food through, then locks it again immediately. Nalin takes the jerky with bound hands, her fingers brushing his for just a moment. Her skin is rough, calloused from a lifetime of work he can't imagine. You were a soldier, she says, settling back against the far wall of the cage. A scout, but that is not what haunts you. Cole drinks more coffee, doesn't respond. What haunts you, she continues, is something you did, or something you failed to do. I can see it in the way you hold yourself, like a man carrying a weight that grows heavier every day. You don't know me, Cole says quietly. No, but I know guilt. It has a particular smell, like copper and ash. The sun climbs higher. Already the temperature is rising. By noon it will be over 100 again. Cole takes the canvas tarp from his gear, begins rigging it over the top of the cage to provide some shade. You don't have to do this, Nayland says, watching him work. Yeah, I do. Can't have you dying of heat stroke. Bad for business. Is that the only reason? Cole ties off the last corner of the tarp, pulls it tight. Does it matter? Yes, because if you are only acting from self-interest, you are the man Holcomb expects. But if you are acting from compassion, even small compassion, then you are still the man you used to be. The man I used to be died 4 years ago. Did he? Or did he just start hiding? Cole climbs down from the cage, dusts off his hands. You ask a lot of questions. Because you are interesting. Most men who guard cages do not feel guilty about it. Most men who hunt my people do not look ashamed when they remember it. You are different. I wonder why. Maybe I'm just weak. Weakness would be lying to yourself. Strength is facing the truth, even when it hurts. Cole pours himself more coffee, sits down in the shade of the boulder. The day is going to be long and hot, and they're only in the first hour of it. What about you, he asks. What's your truth? Nayland is quiet for a moment, then, I protected children from men who saw them as less than human. That is my truth. That is why I am here. Pike said you killed 3 men. I killed 1, wounded 2 others. They do not count the truth in white settlements. They only count what serves their story. Cole wants to ask more, but he's not sure he wants to hear the answers. Not sure he can carry the weight of whatever she might tell him. They sit in silence for a while. The sun continues its climb. The shadows shrink. The heat builds. Around 9 in the morning, Cole hears horses. His hand goes to his Colt before his mind fully processes the sound. 1 horse, maybe 2, coming from the south. He stands, moves to where he can see the canyon entrance. Nayland watches him but says nothing. A single rider emerges through the narrow gap. It's Jacob. Cole's heart does something complicated in his chest. Relief and anxiety and something like pride all mixed together in a way that makes it hard to breathe. The boy rides his gray gelding, the one Sarah had bought him for his 10th birthday. Jacob sits straight in the saddle, comfortable, like he was born on horseback, which in a way he was. Jacob, Cole calls out, what are you doing here? The boy dismounts, loops his reins around a scrubby bush. He walks toward his father with deliberate steps, and Cole can see that he's nervous but trying hard not to show it. Came to check on you, Pa. Jacob's voice is steady. You've been acting strange, stranger than usual. Wanted to make sure you're all right. Then his eyes move past Cole, land on the cage, on Nolan sitting inside it. Jacob stops walking. His face goes through several expressions in quick succession. Confusion, understanding, horror. Pa, he says softly, that's a woman, in a cage. Cole feels his throat tighten. This is exactly what he didn't want. Didn't want Jacob to see. Didn't want to explain. It's just a job, son. We talked about this. We talked about guard work. Jacob's voice rises slightly. You didn't say you were keeping a woman locked up like an animal. She's dangerous. She killed men. Did she? Jacob takes a step closer to the cage, and Cole moves to intercept him. Stay back. But Jacob doesn't stay back. He walks past his father, walks right up to the bars of the cage. Cole tenses, ready to grab him if needed. Nolan stands slowly, moves to meet Jacob at the bars. They look at each other for a long moment. What is your name, young one? Nolan asks gently. Jacob glances at his father, then back to her. Jacob, ma'am. A good name, strong name. She tilts her head slightly, studying him. You have your mother's eyes, kind eyes. Eyes that see truth even when others look away. How do you know about my mother? I do not, but I know that kindness like yours is taught, not born. Someone taught you to see people as people. That was your mother's gift. Jacob's hands grip the bars. Cole sees his knuckles go white. Did you kill those men? Jacob asks. Direct, unflinching. I killed one man who was hurting a child. Nayland replies with equal directness. I wounded two others who were helping him. The child was 6 years old. The men were chasing her on horseback. They thought it was funny. Cole watches his son's face, watches understanding dawn. You were protecting kids, Jacob says. It's not a question. Yes. Kids like me. Yes, Jacob turns to look at his father. The expression on his face makes Cole want to look away, but he forces himself to meet his son's eyes. Pa, Jacob says quietly, she protected children, and you're keeping her in a cage. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. Jacob's voice cracks. It's real simple. She's innocent. You know it. I know it. And you're keeping her here for money. For the ranch. For you. I don't want the ranch if this is the price. The words come out fierce, 14 years old but sounding much older. Ma would be ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you. The words land like hammer blows. Cole staggers back as if physically struck. Jacob, he starts, but the boy cuts him off. Ma used to say, do what's right even when it's hard. Remember? She said that all the time. Tears are forming in Jacob's eyes now, angry tears that he refuses to let fall. This isn't even hard, Pa. This is easy. You just let her go. I can't do that. You mean you won't? If I let her go, we lose everything. The ranch, the house, everything your mother built. Ma built that ranch on doing right by people. You think she'd want us to keep it by doing wrong? Jacob wipes his eyes roughly with his sleeve. I'd rather lose everything and keep our souls than have everything and lose who we are. Cole opens his mouth, closes it, has no words that can bridge the gap between what he's doing and what he knows is right. Jacob takes a step back from the cage, looks at Nayland one more time. I'm sorry, ma'am, for what my father's doing. For what those men did to you, I'm sorry. Nayland's eyes soften. You carry no blame, Jacob. You see clearly. That is rare, that is precious. Do not lose that gift. Jacob nods once, then turns to his father. I'll be at the ranch, waiting to see what kind of man my father really is. He walks to his horse, mounts up, sits there for a moment looking down at Cole. Choose right, Pa. It's not too late. It's never too late. Then he turns the gray and rides out of the canyon, and Cole is left standing there feeling like his chest has been hollowed out. When the sound of hoofbeats fades, Cole sinks down onto a rock, puts his head in his hands. He is a good son, Nayland says from the cage. Cole laughs, but there's no humor in it. He's a better man at 14 than I'll ever be again. That is not true. You still have choice. You still have the key. She pauses. But the question is whether you have the courage. Cole looks up at her. Courage, letting you go would destroy everything. We'd lose the ranch. Jacob would have nothing. That's not courage. That's stupidity. Is it? Nayland settles back against the bars. Your son just told you he would rather have nothing and keep his integrity than have everything and lose it. He already knows what matters. The question is, when did you forget? Before Cole can answer, before he can even process what she said, he hears more horses. Multiple horses this time. Coming fast. He's on his feet immediately, Winchester in hand. Nayland stands too, alert, her body tense. Luther Pike rides through the canyon entrance, followed by Virgil Kane. They're riding hard, their horses lathered with sweat. Pike sees Jacob's tracks in the dirt, still fresh. His eyes narrow. You had a visitor, Brennan? Cole's mind races. My son. Brought me some food I'd forgotten. That's so. Pike dismounts, walking slowly toward Cole. Awful convenient, your son just happening to find you way out here. Small territory, people know things. Kane circles around, positioning himself at an angle. Cole notices. These men are setting up for trouble. Why are you back? Cole asks, keeping his voice level. Thought you weren't coming back until Tuesday. Change of plans. Pike pulls a folded paper from his vest. Holcomb wanted me to give you this. Figured you should know what you're protecting. He hands the paper to Cole. It's a poster, crudely printed but clear enough. The headline reads, "Witness the savage Apache warrior woman." Below that, in smaller text, a description that makes Cole's stomach turn. See the wild squaw who murdered 3 innocent settlers in cold blood. Watch her perform primitive dances and rituals. Hear her speak in her heathen tongue. A rare glimpse into the brutal nature of the Apache race. Educational and thrilling for the whole family. There's a list of cities: Denver, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Washington, and at the bottom, in bold letters, 25 cents adults, 10 cents children. Pike watches Cole read, a small smile playing at his lips. Holcomb's already got buyers interested. Man in Denver runs exhibitions, pays top dollar for authentic specimens. Indians, outlaws, anybody with a good story. Pike's smile faded slightly. Had to move the schedule up, though. Some U.S. Marshals have been poking around, asking questions about our business in Arizona and Colorado. Holcomb wants to get her to Denver before the law catches up. That's why the rush. Cole's hands are shaking. He tries to hide it, but Pike notices. Pike notices everything. She'll tour the eastern cities, Pike continues. People eat this stuff up. Holcomb's got contracts for 8 cities already. You do the math on that, Brennan. 500 people per show, 2 shows a day, 30 days per city. That's over $200,000 for the whole tour. The numbers are staggering, obscene. Your cut's $250 for 3 days' work, Pike says. Holcomb's being generous. Most men would pay for the privilege of being part of something this profitable. Cole looks at the poster, looks at Nayland. She's standing perfectly still, face expressionless, but he can see the tension in her posture. She's heard every word. She's not a specimen, Cole says quietly. She's a person. Pike's smile disappears. She's merchandise, and you're being paid to guard her. That's all you need to remember. He walks to his horse, starts to mount, then pauses. Oh, and Brennan, that boy of yours, he seemed awful interested in our prisoner. Make sure he doesn't get any ideas about coming back. Holcomb wouldn't like that. Wouldn't like it at all. It's not quite a threat, not quite, but the implication is clear. Pike and Kane ride out, leaving Cole standing there with the poster crumpled in his fist. When they're gone, he walks to the cage, stands in front of it, looking at Nayland through the bars. I'm sorry, he says. The words feel inadequate, worthless. You are sorry, but you will still keep me here. I don't know what else to do. If I let you go, they'll come after my son. You heard Pike. They know Jacob was here. So you will sacrifice me to protect him. Yes, the admission tastes like poison. I'm sorry, but yes, my son comes first. Nayland nods slowly. I understand. If I had a son, I would do the same. But understanding does not make it right, and it does not make you free of the choice. She sits back whining, turns her face away from him. Cole stands there for a long moment, then walks away. He goes to the far end of the canyon, as far from the cage as he can get, and sinks down with his back against the stone wall. The poster is still in his hand. He smooths it out, reads it again. Every word is a knife. Wild squaw, brutal nature, heathen tongue. They're going to parade her through cities like she's an animal in a zoo. People will pay to gawk at her, to mock her, to feel superior while staring at her suffering. And he's helping them do it. For $250. The sun climbs toward its zenith. The heat becomes oppressive. Cole sits in the shade and thinks about Sarah. She would have known what to do. Sarah always knew what to do. He remembers the day they met. Fort Craig, summer of 1871. He'd been 26, already a veteran of 1 year scouting. She'd been 19, working in her father's store, selling supplies to soldiers who spent their meager pay on tobacco and coffee and the occasional luxury of canned peaches. He'd come in to buy ammunition. She'd smiled at him, and something in his chest had unlocked. Something he didn't even know was locked. They had talked for an hour. He'd missed lunch, didn't care. She'd asked him about his work. He'd told her honestly about tracking Apache raiders, about the violence, about the things he'd seen and done. "Does it bother you?" she'd asked. "Hunting people?" "They're not people," he'd said, parroting what the officers said. "They're hostiles, savages, threats to civilization." Sarah had looked at him with those warm brown eyes, gentle but unwavering. "Thomas Cole Brennan," she'd said, using his full name like she already knew him. "Every person who breathes is a person. Doesn't matter what color their skin is or what language they speak. You know that in your heart. Don't let the army teach you otherwise." He'd thought about that conversation for weeks, started questioning things he'd taken for granted, started seeing the Apache he tracked as people with families and hopes and fears. That was when he decided to leave the army, when he decided to build something instead of destroying things. Sarah had done that, had made him better just by believing he could be. And now, 12 years after her death, he's sitting in a canyon keeping a woman in a cage because he's too weak and too scared to do what Sarah would have done without hesitation. The afternoon wears on. Cole makes himself eat, though the food tastes like dust. He checks on Copper, gives her water, talks to her in the quiet voice he reserves for animals and small children. Around 4 o'clock, when the heat is at its worst and the whole world seems to shimmer in the waves of rising air, Cole hears Nayland speak. "May I tell you something?" Her voice is hoarse from the heat. Cole walks to the cage, brings her the canteen. She drinks gratefully. "You can tell me anything," he says, "my family. You asked yesterday what my truth was. I told you about the children I protected, but I did not tell you what I lost." Cole sits down in the shade of the boulder nearest the cage. "You don't have to. I want to, because I think you need to hear it, because I think you are a man who has forgotten that other people suffer too, that you are not alone in your grief." She settles into a position that looks almost comfortable despite the chains and the cage and the heat. "I had a father," she begins. "Cochilo. It means black knife in your language. He was a warrior, not because he loved violence, but because his people needed protection. He taught me to ride before I could walk. Taught me to track animals through country so hard it would break most men. Taught me that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it." Her voice is steady, but Cole can hear the emotion underneath. "I had a mother, Desba, medicine woman. She knew every plant that grows in the desert, knew which ones heal and which ones kill. She taught me to see the world as connected. Everything touches everything. When you harm one thing, you harm all things. When you heal one thing, you heal all things." Cole listens, not interrupting. "I had a brother, Dakota, 12 years old. He could make anyone laugh, even in the hardest times, even when we were hungry or cold or running from soldiers. Dakota could find something funny. He had a gift for joy." Nayland pauses, drinks more water. "September 1883. You remember that year?" "I remember. Apache Creek. My people were camped there. 50 of us. Families, children, old ones. We were not raiding. We were not fighting. We were just trying to survive another season. Trying to find enough food for winter." Her voice doesn't change. Doesn't get angry or sad. Just continues, flat and factual, which somehow makes it worse. "The cavalry came at dawn, Fort Craig soldiers. We did not know why. Later we learned that some Mescalero Apache had attacked a wagon train 200 miles south. But to the army, Apache is Apache. They did not care about details." Cole closes his eyes. He knows this story. Every scout knew stories like this. They just didn't talk about them. "My father fought to give the women and children time to run. He killed 2 soldiers, maybe 3. I was hiding in the bushes, so I did not see clearly. But I heard him singing his death song, heard the guns firing. 9 times they shot him. 9 times, but he did not fall until the 9th bullet." "Nalin," Cole says softly. "My mother pushed me and Dakota into a ravine, told us to run, but she stayed. She stood between the soldiers and the ravine, her hands raised to show she was no threat. 'We are women,' she said in English. 'We are children. Do not shoot.'" Nellen's hands are shaking now, just slightly, but shaking. The sergeant, He did not care. He had a quota to fill, orders to follow. He drove his bayonet through her back. It came out the front, through her chest. She died looking at me. Her last words were, "Run, my daughter, run and live. Tell our story." Cole feels something wet on his cheeks, realizes he's crying. He doesn't wipe the tears away. Dakota and I ran. We hid for 4 days in a cave. When we finally came out, everything was burned. Our homes, our food, our clothes, even the bodies were burned, like they wanted to erase us from the earth. She takes a shaky breath. Soldiers found Dakota 3 weeks later. They took him to Fort Craig, put him in a cell with 15 other Apache children. The cell was damp, cold. Disease spread. Dakota got sick. Tuberculosis. He died after 3 months. God, Cole whispers. Before he died, he wrote me a letter. In English. He had learned English from a priest at the fort. Father O'Brien, the letter said, "Dear Sister Nolan, I am sick. They say I will die soon. I am not afraid. Mother and father wait for me. But I want you to know that I was brave. I did not cry. Please find our people. Tell them Dakota was brave. Tell them I love them." Nayland finally stops. The silence that follows is heavy as stone. The letter was in a pouch I wore around my neck. When Holcomb caught me, he took it. Said it would be good for the show. Give me, how did he say it, backstory, something to make the customers feel they were seeing authentic, savage history. Cole is openly weeping now. He doesn't try to hide it, doesn't try to speak. So when you ask me my truth, Nayland says quietly, that is my truth. I lost my father, my mother, my brother. I lost my people. I lost my home. I lost everything except my life. And now Holcomb wants to take that too. Not by killing me, but by making me into something I am not. By turning my suffering into entertainment. Yes, she looks at Cole directly. You asked me yesterday if I would still keep you in this cage. Now I will ask you, knowing what you know, will you still keep me here? Will you still help them do this? Cole wipes his face, stands, walks to the edge of the canyon and looks out at the desert. The sun is starting to descend. The light is turning gold. Somewhere out there, 35 miles away, Jacob is waiting to see what kind of man his father is. Cole thinks about Sarah, about what she would do. He knows what she would do. The question is whether he has the courage to do it too. He turns back to the cage. Nolan is watching him, waiting. Cole reaches into his pocket, pulls out the key. He's walking toward the cage when he hears the horses. Not from the south this time, from the north. Multiple horses, moving fast. Cole's hand moves to his gun. Nayland stands alert. 3 riders burst through the canyon entrance. Holcomb, Pike, Kane. They're back a day early. And from the look on Holcomb's face, they know something. Holcomb dismounts while still moving, hitting the ground at a run. He's been drinking. Cole can smell the whiskey from 15 feet away. The man's eyes are bloodshot, his movements unsteady. "Brennan," Holcomb snarls, "we got a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Got a telegram in Santa Fe. Buyer in Denver wants her moved up. Wants her there in 4 days instead of 2 weeks. Says he'll pay double if we deliver early." Holcomb sways slightly as he walks. He's drunk, really drunk. 4 days, Cole says carefully. She won't survive the journey in this heat. Then you better make damn sure she does. Holcomb pulls a flask from his coat, takes a long pull. "We're leaving tonight, right now, loading her up and riding straight through. You can't move her at night through the desert. You'll kill her before you get 10 miles. I'll do what I damn well please." Holcomb's voice rises. "I own her. Bought her fair and square. She's my property, and I'll transport her however I see fit." He staggers toward the cage. Cole moves to intercept him. "Get out of my way, Brennan. You hired me to keep her alive. You move her now, in your condition, she'll be dead by morning." Holcomb's hand drops to his gun. "You work for me. That means you do what I say. Now move." Cole doesn't move. Pike and Kane fan out, hands near their weapons. The canyon suddenly feels very small. Holcomb pushes past Cole, stumbles up to the cage. He grabs the bars, leaning close to Nolan. "You hear that, you savage bitch?" His breath must reek of alcohol. You're gonna be famous, gonna make me rich, gonna spend the rest of your life in a performing for white folks who pay good money to see what a real Apache looks like. Nayland stands perfectly still, doesn't react, doesn't give him the satisfaction. Holcomb's face darkens with rage. You think you're better than me? Think you're too good to show some respect? He fumbles at his belt, pulls out a knife. It's a big knife, 10 inches of steel, meant for skinning game. I think you need to learn your place, Holcomb slurs. Need to understand who owns you now. He reaches through the bars with the knife, not trying to stab her, just trying to cut her, to mark her, to assert dominance. Cole sees it happening, sees Holcomb's hand with the knife, sees Nellin standing there, refusing to back down even though the blade is inches from her face, sees his son Jacob's disappointed eyes, sees Sarah's gentle, unwavering faith that he could be better, sees the poster advertising a human being like she's a circus attraction, and something inside Thomas Cole Brennan breaks, not the kind of breaking that shatters, the kind that snaps chains. He draws his Colt faster than he's drawn in years. The hammer clicks back with a sound like thunder, and he points it directly at Marcus Holcomb's chest. No, Cole says. His voice is ice. We are not doing this. The world stops. 4 men with guns, 1 cage, 1 woman, and a choice that can't be unmade. Holcomb turns slowly, the knife still in his hand. His eyes are wide, surprised, calculating. You're making a mistake, Brennan. Probably, Cole agrees, but I'm making it anyway. Put the knife down, step away from the cage. You can't shoot all 3 of us, Pike says from the left. No, Cole admits, but I can definitely shoot him. And I will. The second any of you reaches for a weapon, Holcomb gets a .45 caliber hole in his chest. Holcomb's jaw works like he's chewing glass. You know what you're throwing away? $250. Clean record. Your reputation. All for what? Some Apache woman who'd cut your throat if she got the chance? Cole's gun doesn't waver. Maybe, but at least I'll be able to look my son in the eye. Your son? Holcomb laughs, bitter and ugly. Your son's gonna starve when you lose that ranch. Gonna end up on the street because his father decided to play hero. Better to starve with honor than eat on blood money. Honor? Holcomb spits in the dirt. You think this is about honor? This is about survival. About understanding that the strong take from the weak because that's how the world works. Always has. Always will. Then I guess I'm changing my piece of the world. Holcomb stares at him for a long moment. Then he sheathes his knife slowly, deliberately. You think you're noble? His voice drops, becomes cold and dangerous. You think this changes anything? There are hundreds of men like me, Brennan, thousands. You save her tonight, someone catches her tomorrow. Someone always does. You can't fix this. Can't fix any of it. The world doesn't work that way. I know, Cole says quietly. I can't change the world. Can't save everyone. Can't undo what's been done. He pauses, and for the first time in 4 years, he feels clear, certain, free. But I can fix what's happening right here, right now. In this canyon, on this day. I can choose to be the man my wife believed I was. The man my son needs me to be. He takes a breath. And you know what? That's enough. That's enough for me. Silence, long and heavy. Then Holcomb turns to Pike and Kane. Mount up. Boss, Pike starts to protest. I said mount up. The 2 men move slowly to their horses, never taking their hands far from their guns. Holcomb climbs into his saddle, looks down at Cole. You're a dead man, Brennan. You know that, right? I'm coming back. With more men, more guns. And when I do, you're gonna wish you'd taken the money and kept your mouth shut. I've been dead for 4 years, Cole says. Just didn't know it until tonight. Now I'm finally alive again. Holcomb's face twists with rage, but he turns his horse and rides out, followed by Pike and Kane. The sound of hoof beats fades into the distance. Cole stands there, gun still drawn, heart pounding like a war drum. Then he lowers the hammer, holsters the weapon, turns to face Nayleen. She's gripping the bars, her eyes wide. Why, she asks. Just that one word. Cole reaches into his pocket, pulls out the key. Because my son asked me what kind of man I wanted him to become. And I realized I couldn't answer that question honestly as long as I was keeping you in this cage. He walks to the door, fits the key into the lock. Because my wife believed people matter more than money. And she was right. The lock clicks open with a sound like freedom. Because you're not a specimen or a savage or merchandise. You're a person, and keeping people in cages is wrong, no matter how much they pay me. He swings the door wide. The hinges protest with a screech that echoes off the canyon walls. Nalin stands in the doorway, 1 foot inside the cage, 1 foot in the world beyond. They will kill you for this, she says. Probably. You will lose everything. Already lost everything that mattered. This is me finding it again. Nalin steps out of the cage. For the first time in 9 days, she's not behind bars. Cole pulls his knife, cuts the ropes binding her wrists. The hemp falls away, leaving raw, bleeding skin underneath. You need to run, he says, north into the mountains. Don't stop. Don't look back. I'll buy you as much time as I can. You gave me freedom. What can I give you? Tell your people, if you find them, tell them not all white men are like Holcomb. Tell them some of us remember what it means to be human. Nalin nods slowly. Then she does something unexpected. She reaches up and pulls a single eagle feather from her hair. It's small, white with a black tip, bound with a thin strip of leather. This is sacred to my people, she says. It represents honor, courage, wisdom. Wear it. When they come for you, touch it. Remember, you are not alone. The spirits of my ancestors see your courage. They will guide you. She presses it into his hand. The feather is so light it feels like air, but the weight of it in his palm feels like the world. Thank you, Cole manages. No, thank you, Thomas Cole Brennan. You gave me back my life. I will not forget. She turns toward the horses. Cole's mare Copper stands nearby. Take her, Cole says. She's old, but she's steady. She'll get you where you need to go. Nalin looks at the horse, then back at Cole. That is your horse, your companion. And now she's yours. Go, please, before they come back. Nalin mounts Copper with the fluid grace of someone born to riding. She looks down at Cole one last time. My people have a belief, she says softly, that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. You have that courage, Thomas Cole Brennan. It is worth more than any life lived in cowardice. And then she turns Copper north and rides toward the mountains. Cole watches until she disappears through the narrow passage at the far end of the canyon. He's alone now, no horse. One gun with 6 bullets, and Marcus Holcomb coming back with reinforcements. But as he ties Nalin's eagle feather to the bandana around his neck, as he feels it rest against his chest, Thomas Cole Brennan realizes something. For the first time in 4 years, he can breathe. For the first time since Sarah died, he feels like himself again. And whatever comes next, whatever price he has to pay, it was worth it. The stars come out, the temperature drops, and Cole sits down to wait for what morning will bring. Finally at peace. Cole estimates he has maybe 20 minutes before Holcomb realizes Nalin is gone. 20 minutes before all hell breaks loose. He works fast. First, he checks the Winchester. 13 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. 14 shots loaded. The Colt has 6 more in reserve, plus the spare rounds in his belt. 32 rounds total against 3 men who will be coming for blood. Not good odds, but Cole stopped caring about odds the moment he opened that cage. He positions himself behind the large boulder where he'd been sleeping. It offers good cover and a clear line of sight to the canyon entrance. If Holcomb comes back the way he left, Cole will see him coming. He gathers what's left of his water. 1 canteen, maybe half full. If this turns into a siege, he'll need every drop. The empty cage sits in the middle of the canyon like an accusation. Its door swings gently in the night breeze, creaking on rusty hinges. The sound is almost musical. Cole touches the eagle feather tied to his bandana, feels its softness against his throat. He thinks about Nalin riding north under the stars. Hopes she's already miles away. Hopes she finds her people, or at least finds safety. The 20 minutes feel like 20 seconds. He hears them before he sees them. Horses moving fast, angry voices, the jangle of spurs and tack. They're not being quiet, don't need to be. They think they have all the advantages. Three riders burst through the southern entrance. Holcomb, Pike, Kane. They see the empty cage immediately. Holcomb pulls his horse up so hard the animal nearly sits down. His roar of rage echoes off the canyon walls. "Brennan, where is she?" Cole steps out from behind the boulder. His Winchester is leveled, steady as stone. "Gone," he says simply, "and you're not getting her back." Holcomb's face in the moonlight is a mask of fury. He dismounts in a fury of motion, his hand already on his gun. "You stupid son of a bitch. You know what you just cost me? $200,000, 2 years of work, everything." "Good. Good?" Holcomb's voice cracks. "Good? I'm going to kill you, Brennan. Going to kill you slow." Cole's finger rests on the trigger. "You can try." Pike and Kane have dismounted too, spreading out, trying to flank him. Cole tracks them with his eyes without moving the rifle. "Don't," he warns. "First man reaches for a gun gets a bullet. I promise you that." "You really think one man can stop all three of us?" Holcomb's laugh is ugly. "You really that stupid?" "Probably, but here's the thing, Holcomb. I don't need to stop all three of you. I just need to make sure you don't get what you want. And I already did that. She's free. She's gone. And there's nothing you can do about it." "The hell there isn't." Holcomb gestures to Pike. "You and Kane start tracking. She can't have gotten far." "She's got an hour head start on a good horse," Cole says. "She knows this country better than any of us. She's Apache. She could be 10 miles away by now, or she could be 100 yards away watching us, and you'd never know. You really think you're going to find her in the dark?" The truth of it settles over them. Holcomb's face darkens further. "Then I'll just have to settle for killing you." "That's your choice. But understand something, Holcomb. The second you draw, I'm putting a .44 round right through your chest. You'll be dead before you hit the ground. Maybe your boys get me after. Probably they do, but you won't see it. You'll just be dead." Holcomb's hand hovers over his gun. The moment stretches, thin and tight as wire. Pike shifts to the left. Kane moves right. They're coordinating, getting into position. Cole adjusts his aim slightly, tracking Holcomb, but aware of the others in his peripheral vision. "Your call," Cole says quietly, "but make it fast. I'm getting tired of pointing this rifle at you." Something changes in Holcomb's eyes, some calculation. He's drunk, but not so drunk he can't think. "You know what?" Holcomb says slowly. "I don't need to kill you tonight. You got no horse, no water except what's in that canteen. It's 35 miles to the nearest settlement. In this heat on foot, you'll be dead in 2 days anyway." He takes a step back, his hand moving away from his gun. "Boys," he says to Pike and Kane, "we're leaving." Pike looks confused. "Boss, we can take him. 3 against 1. "Not worth the risk. Let the desert kill him. We'll come back in a few days, collect what the buzzards leave behind." Kane grins, understanding. "Smart. Let nature do the work." They start backing toward their horses. Cole keeps the Winchester trained on Holcomb, not trusting this sudden retreat. "This isn't over, Brennan," Holcomb says. "You're dead, just doesn't know it yet." "I've been dead for 4 years, Cole replies. "This is what coming back to life looks like." Holcomb mounts his horse. Pike and Kane do the same. They turn to leave. Then everything goes wrong. Pike's horse, nervous from the tension, shies at a shadow. Pike jerks the reins, and his rifle, slung across his back, comes loose. Falls to the ground with a clatter. He dismounts to retrieve it, moving quickly. Too quickly. His hand is near the rifle when Holcomb shouts, "Pike! No! Leave it!" But Pike's already committed to the motion. His hand closes on the rifle stock. Cole reacts on instinct, years of cavalry training taking over. Threat response automatic. He swings the Winchester toward Pike. "Drop it!" Pike freezes. The rifle is halfway to his shoulder. Time slows to a crawl. Cole can see Pike's hand trembling on the rifle stock, his finger hovering near the trigger guard, frozen in indecision. Can see the man's eye, wide with adrenaline and fear. Can see the choice forming. "Don't," Cole says, "please don't." But Pike's fear makes him flinch. The rifle jerks upward reflexively. Cole fires. The Winchester's report is deafening in the enclosed canyon. The muzzle flash lights up the night like lightning. Pike staggers backward, the rifle falling from his hands. He looks down at his shoulder where Cole's bullet has torn through muscle and bone. Blood spreads across his shirt, black in the moonlight. I told you, Cole says quietly. I told you to drop it. Pike sinks to his knees, pressing his hand to the wound. He's cursing, a steady stream of profanity mixed with shock and pain. Holcomb's gun clears leather. So does Kane's. Cole drops behind the boulder as bullets start flying. The night explodes with gunfire. Holcomb and Kane both empty their revolvers in Cole's direction. Bullets ricochet off stone with sounds like angry hornets. Chips of rock spray through the air. One fragment catches Cole across the cheek, drawing blood. He waits for the firing to stop. Counts the shots. 6 from each gun, 12 total. In the brief silence that follows, he hears them reloading, fumbling with cartridges, cursing. Cole pops up from behind the boulder. Fires twice, fast and controlled. Both shots miss, but they force Holcomb and Kane to dive for cover. They scatter, Kane rolling behind the empty cage, Holcomb making it to a cluster of rocks on the eastern side of the canyon. Pike is still on his knees in the open, clutching his shoulder, moaning. Pike, Holcomb shouts, get to cover. But Pike can't move. He's in shock, staring at the blood pumping between his fingers. Cole doesn't shoot him again. The man's out of the fight. No need. This is your last chance, Holcomb, Cole shouts. Right away. Take your men and go. Go to hell. Holcomb's voice comes from behind the rocks. You're a dead man, Brennan. More gunfire, this time more controlled. Holcomb and Kane are aiming now, not just shooting blind. Bullets strike close to Cole's position. Too close. Cole returns fire. 3 shots, driving them back down. He's down to 8 rounds in the Winchester, 6 in the Colt, 14 shots total against 2 armed men with plenty of ammunition. The math isn't good. He needs to change position. Staying in one place makes him predictable, killable. During a lull in the shooting, Cole breaks from cover, runs low and fast toward a different boulder 15 yards to his right. Bullets chase him, kicking up dust at his heels. He slides behind the new position just as a round spangs off the rock where his head was a second before. From this angle, he can see Kane behind the cage, just a sliver of the man visible between the bars. Cole aims carefully, fires once. The bullet passes between 2 bars and catches Kane in the thigh. The man screams, dropping flat. Kane's hit, Holcomb yells. Kane! I'm all right. Kane's voice is tight with pain. Leg wound, not bad. 2 men wounded, but still in the fight. And Cole is now down to 7 rounds in the Winchester. The pattern continues, brief exchanges of fire, long periods of silence. Both sides conserving ammunition. Both sides waiting for an opening. Cole's shoulder aches from the recoil. His hands are steady, but he can feel the adrenaline starting to fade, leaving exhaustion in its wake. He's 41 years old, too old for this, too tired. But he keeps fighting because giving up means Nolan's freedom was for nothing, and he won't let that happen. The moon crosses the sky. Hours pass. The temperature drops into the 50s. Around 3 in the morning, Holcomb tries a different tactic. Brennan! His voice echoes across the canyon. Let's talk. Cole doesn't answer. Come on, Brennan. We're both too old to die over an Apache woman. Let's make a deal. Still no answer from Cole. I'll give you $500, cash. You can keep your ranch, keep your son fed. All you gotta do is tell me which way she went. Cole's jaw tightens. He aims toward the voice, but holds his fire. Ammunition is too precious to waste. $1,000. Holcomb's voice rises, desperate now. Think about it. Your boy's future. Everything you wanted for him. My boy's future, Cole calls back, depends on him having a father with a soul. Money can't buy that. You self-righteous son of a bitch. You think you're better than me? No, I just decided to stop being worse than I am. Silence. Then Holcomb laughs. It's a broken sound. You're going to die for nothing, Brennan. For nothing. That woman won't remember you, won't care. She'll disappear into the mountains and you'll be buzzard food. And the world will keep turning like you never existed. I'll remember, Cole says quietly. And that's enough. More silence. Cole can hear movement. Whispered conversation between Holcomb and Kane. They're planning something. He waits, every sense alert. Then he hears something that doesn't fit. A sound from outside the canyon, from the southern entrance. More horses, multiple horses, moving fast. Cole's heart sinks. Reinforcements. Holcomb must have sent for help before coming back. He's about to be overwhelmed. He checks his ammunition one more time. 7 rounds. This is where he makes his last stand. The horses get louder, closer. Cole raises the Winchester. If he's going down, he's taking as many with him as he can. Then a voice cuts through the night. A voice he knows. This is United States Marshal William Thaddeus Webb. Drop your weapons, all of you. Cole's breath catches. 6 riders pour through the southern entrance. In the lead is a man in his mid-50s, sitting straight in the saddle, a Winchester across his lap. His vest bears a silver star. U.S. Marshal. Behind him, 5 deputies, all armed, all spreading out with practiced efficiency. Holcomb and Kane are caught completely by surprise. Their guns are still drawn, their positions exposed. I said drop them! Webb's voice has the crack of absolute authority. Now! Kane's gun hits the dirt. He raises his hands, still clutching his wounded leg. Holcomb hesitates. His gun wavers between Cole and the marshals. Don't even think about it, Holcomb, Webb says. We've been tracking you for 8 months. Human trafficking, illegal imprisonment, assault. We've got warrants for all of it. You shoot that gun, you're adding murder to the list. Slowly, reluctantly, Holcomb lowers his weapon, sets it on the ground. Smart, Webb says. He dismounts, walking toward the scene with calm confidence. His eyes take in everything. The empty cage, the wounded men, Cole behind the boulder with his rifle still raised. Somebody want to tell me what the hell happened here? Holcomb speaks first, his voice smooth despite the circumstances. Marshal, thank God you're here. This man, Brennan, he's a criminal. We hired him to guard a prisoner, dangerous Apache woman. He freed her, stole our property, opened fire on us when we tried to stop him. You can see the evidence. Pike shot, Kane shot. Brennan attacked us without provocation. Webb's expression doesn't change. He looks at Cole. That true, Brennan? Cole lowers his rifle slowly, steps out from behind the boulder. In the deputy's lamplight, he knows he looks rough, face bloody from rock chips, clothes dusty, eyes exhausted. I freed her, he admits. The woman. Her name was Nolan. She was being held illegally. She's Apache, Holcomb interrupts. Savage. Killed 3 white men. We had every right to detain her. For what? Webb's voice goes cold. For trial? For a judge? Or for selling to exhibitions in Denver? Holcomb's face shifts. I don't know what you're talking about. Webb pulls a folded paper from his coat. This came across my desk 2 weeks ago. Advertisement for traveling exhibition. See the savage Apache warrior woman. Ring any bells, Holcomb? The paper is identical to the one Pike showed Cole. Same cities, same prices, same degrading language. That's not illegal, Holcomb says, but his voice has lost its confidence. Human trafficking is illegal, has been since 1865. Selling people for shows, exhibitions, forced performances. That's trafficking, Holcomb, and I've been building a case against you for months. Webb gestures to his deputies. Take them into custody, all 3. The deputies move forward. Kane doesn't resist, too wounded and exhausted to fight. They help him onto a horse, bind his hands in front of him. Pike is still on his knees, bleeding. One of the deputies bandages his shoulder, then helps him up. Holcomb stands rigid as they approach. You're making a mistake, Marshal. That woman is dangerous. She murdered innocent men. Did she? Webb walks closer to Holcomb. Or did she defend children from men who were terrorizing them? Because that's what the witnesses I interviewed said happened. Took me 3 weeks to find those witnesses. Folks in White Springs who saw the whole thing. Who saw your innocent men chasing Apache children on horseback. Who saw Nellen step in to protect them. Holcomb's face goes white. Those are lies. No, your poster was lies. Webb nods to a deputy who pulls Holcomb's arms behind his back, securing them with iron manacles. You're under arrest for human trafficking, unlawful imprisonment, assault, and attempted murder. You'll answer for all of it in front of a federal judge. As they lead Holcomb toward the horses, he turns to glare at Cole. This isn't over, Brennan. I have friends, connections. I'll get out, and when you do, Webb interrupts, you'll serve your sentence like every other criminal. And if I were you, I'd hope for a long sentence, because the people you've wronged have long memories. They haul Holcomb onto a horse. He sits there, hands bound, face twisted with impotent rage. Webb walks over to where Pike is being helped onto his horse. The man is pale from blood loss but conscious. Marshal, Pike says quietly, I need to say something. Save it for the judge. No, need to say it now. Pike looks at Cole. Brennan, I'm sorry for what it's worth. When you stood up to Holcomb, when you refused to shoot you, I couldn't do it. Couldn't kill a man for doing the right thing. Cole remembers that moment when Pike's rifle was falling, when everything could have gone differently. I know, Cole says. I saw you hesitate. Holcomb saw it too. That's why he was going to kill me after this was over. Heard him tell Kane while you were changing positions. Said I was weak. Said weak men were liabilities. Pike coughs, winces at the pain in his shoulder. You shot me fair. I reached for the gun. That's on me. But I want you to know, I wasn't going to fire. I just panicked. I believe you, Cole says. Webb makes a note of this. That'll be in my report. Might help at sentencing. They finish securing all three men on horses. The deputies mount up, forming a perimeter around the prisoners. Webb approaches Cole, studies him in the lamplight. You look like hell, Brennan. Feel like it too. Good, means you're still alive. Webb glances at the empty cage. The woman. Where is she? Cole meets his eyes. I don't know, Marshal, and that's the truth. Webb nods slowly. And if you did know, I still wouldn't tell you. A small smile crosses Webb's weathered face. Good answer, he extends his hand. I can't say I approve of vigilante justice. Law's supposed to work through proper channels. But between you and me, I'll take a man who frees the innocent over one who cages them any day of the week. Cole shakes his hand. The grip is firm, respectful. Get that wound looked at, Webb says, gesturing to Cole's bloody cheek. And Brennan, whatever you were before tonight, you're better now. Remember that. He mounts his horse, signals to his deputies. They begin moving toward the southern exit, the prisoners in the middle of their formation. As they pass through the narrow entrance, Holcomb looks back one more time. His eyes find Cole's across the distance. The hatred there is palpable, but so is the defeat. Then they're gone. The sound of hoofbeats fading into the distance. Cole stands alone in the canyon. The empty cage, its doors still hanging open. The pre-dawn darkness slowly giving way to the first gray light. He sinks down onto a rock. The Winchester falls from his hands, clattering on stone. The adrenaline that kept him going for hours drains away all at once, leaving him shaking. He touches the eagle feather at his throat. It's still there, still soft. Thank you, he whispers to the darkness. To Naylin, wherever she is. To Sarah's memory. To whatever is listening. The sky lightens, pink and gold spreading across the eastern horizon. Cole watches the sun rise over the desert, watches shadows recede and colors emerge. The canyon walls turn from black to red to blazing orange. It's beautiful. He'd forgotten how beautiful the world could be when you weren't drowning in shame. Around 7 in the morning, he hears one more horse approaching. He's too tired to reach for the Winchester. If someone's coming to kill him, they'll just have to do it while he sits here watching the sunrise. But the rider who emerges through the southern entrance isn't a threat. It's Jacob. The boy rides fast, his face anxious. When he sees Cole, relief floods his features. He dismounts while still moving, running the last few yards. Aha! Are you all right? I heard gunshots last night, rode out as soon as it was light enough to see the trail. Cole stands, and his son crashes into him, arms wrapping tight. Cole hugs him back, feeling 14-year-old bones and surprising strength and the fierce love of a child who hasn't quite given up on his father. I'm all right, son. I'm all right. Jacob pulls back, looks at his father's bloody face, his exhausted eyes. Then he looks at the empty cage. You let her go. I did. And they came back. They did. But you're alive. Barely. Marshal Webb showed up just in time. Jacob looks at his father for a longer moment. Then he does something Cole hasn't seen in 4 years. He smiles, not a small smile, a real one, full of pride and relief and love. Ma would be proud of you, Pa. The words hit harder than any bullet. Cole feels his throat close up, his eyes burn. Yeah, he manages. Yeah, she would. They stand there together as the sun climbs higher. Father and son, both a little broken, both a little lost, but together. What now? Jacob asks eventually. Cole looks around the canyon. At the cage he helped destroy by opening. At the desert stretching away in all directions. At the sky so blue it hurts to look at. Now we go home, he says, fix up the ranch. Pay the taxes somehow. Start over. Without the $250? Without the $250. Marshall Cole puts his arms around his son's shoulders. But with our souls intact. Fair trade, I think. More than fair, Jacob agrees. They gather what little gear Cole has left. Jacob's horse can carry them both, though it won't be comfortable for the 35 miles home. Before they leave, Cole walks to the cage one last time, looks at it standing there empty, its purpose defeated. He pulls the Winchester from where it leans against the boulder, aims carefully, and puts a bullet through the padlock. The lock shatters, falls to the ground in pieces. Cole fires again, and again, and again. He shoots the hinges off the door, shoots holes through the bars, empties the Winchester into the cage until it's nothing but twisted metal and broken iron. When he's done, the cage is beyond repair, beyond use, beyond saving. Nobody, Cole says quietly, is ever going to be locked in there again. Jacob watches with solemn approval. Good. They mount the gray gelding, Jacob in front, Cole behind. The horse protests the double weight but settles under Jacob's gentle handling. As they ride toward the southern exit, Cole looks back one more time. The shattered cage sits in the morning sun, a monument to something ended, something defeated. And Cole Brennan feels lighter than he has in years. They're halfway through the narrow passage when Jacob speaks. Pa, do you think she made it? Nolan, do you think she's safe? Cole thinks about the determined woman who spent 9 days in a cage and never broke, who taught him about courage without saying the word, who gave him an eagle feather and called it sacred. Yeah, son, I think she made it. I think she's exactly where she needs to be. Good, Jacob says softly. That's good. The desert opens up before them, 35 miles of hard country between here and home. But they have water. They have each other. And they have something Cole lost 4 years ago and only just found again. They have hope. The ride takes most of the day. They stop twice to rest the horse and drink water. Jacob produces food from his saddlebags, hardtack and jerky, and some dried apples that taste like heaven. They talk as they ride, really talk, for the first time in years. Cole tells Jacob about Sarah, not about her death, but about her life, about the way she laughed, the songs she used to sing, the dreams she had for their ranch. Jacob tells Cole about the lonely years, about trying to be strong, about the nights he cried himself to sleep wondering if his father would ever come back from wherever grief had taken him. The honesty hurts, but it also heals. By the time they see the ranch in the distance, the sun is setting behind the Magdalena Mountains. The house looks small and humble and perfect. Jacob rides up to the porch, dismounts, helps his father down. Cole's legs nearly buckle. He's stiff from riding, exhausted from the fight, running on nothing but determination. Jacob steadies him. Come on, Pa. Let's get you inside. They walk into the house together. It's exactly as Cole left it 2 days ago, but it feels different, feels like home again. Jacob builds a fire in the hearth, heats water for coffee, finds clean cloth to bandage Cole's face. Cole sits in Sarah's rocking chair and lets his son take care of him, lets himself be cared for. It's harder than fighting ever was. We still got that tax bill, Jacob says quietly as he works. Still got 16 days to pay it. I know. $200. We don't have anywhere close to that. I know. So what do we do? Cole is quiet for a moment, then we ask for help. There's neighbors who've offered before. Good people. I was too proud to accept. But pride's a luxury we can't afford. We ask, we work, we figure it out together. And if we can't, if we lose the ranch, Cole looks around the room. At Sarah's quilt, at her carved shelf, at the life they built here. Then we lose it, but we lose it honest. We lose it with our heads up, and we start over somewhere else. He meets his son's eyes. Because a place is just a place, Jacob. It's the people that make it matter. And we've got each other. That's what counts. Jacob nods slowly. Yeah, that does count. They sit together in comfortable silence. The fire crackles. Night settles over the ranch. Eventually, Jacob speaks again. Tell me the story, Pa. All of it, from the beginning, about the woman in the bun. So Cole does. He tells his son everything. About meeting Holcomb, about the job offer, about seeing Nolan for the first time and feeling his soul crack open. About her words that cut through his defenses. About her courage that shamed his cowardice. About the choice to open the cage and the fight that followed and the miracle of Marshall Webb's arrival. Jacob listens without interrupting. When Cole finishes, the boy is quiet for a long time. I want to be like you, Pa, he finally says. No, you don't, son. I'm a mess. Always have been. Not always. Tonight you were brave. Tonight you were the man Ma married. That's the you I want to be like. Cole's vision blurs. He pulls Jacob close, holds him tight. Then I better stay that man, he whispers, because I don't want to let you down again. You won't, Pa. I believe in you. Those 4 words, I believe in you, are worth more than all the gold in California. They sit by the fire until they both fall asleep. Jacob in the chair his mother used to love. Cole on the floor beside him, his hand resting on his son's ankle like an anchor. When morning comes, they'll face the taxes and the debts and the uncertain future. But tonight they're home. They're together. And they're free, the present day. Albuquerque, New Mexico, 2025. Old Cole finishes his story. His voice is hoarse from talking. His eyes are wet. Ethan, his great-grandson, sits forward in his chair. The 17-year-old's face shows everything he's feeling: awe, pride, wonder. What happened next, Grandpa? Did you save the ranch? Cole smiles. We did. Sold our yearling steers to old Henderson for $80. Worked fence repairs for the Parker Ranch. Earned 40 more. Borrowed 60 from Sarah's brother in Santa Fe. The neighbors pitched in the rest when they heard what happened. Paid the taxes with a week to spare. Kept the place for another 40 years until I finally sold it to move here. And Nolan? Did you ever see her again? The old man's eyes grow distant. Once, about 10 years later, I was in Santa Fe on business. Saw a woman across the street. Apache. She saw me at the same time. We looked at each other for maybe 5 seconds. Then she smiled, touched her heart, and walked away. Was it her? I like to think so. She looked free. That's all I needed to know. Ethan looks at the eagle feather in its glass case. And you kept the feather in all these years. Every day of my life reminds me of the night I stopped running from who I was. The night I chose to be better. Cole reaches up, touches the glass gently. Your father asked me once why I kept it. I told him it was my most valuable possession. Not because of what it is, but because of what it represents. What does it represent? The truth that it's never too late to choose right, never too late to be brave, never too late to become the person you're meant to be. He looks at his great-grandson, sees Sarah's eyes looking back at him across generations. That's why I told you this story, Ethan, because you're 17. You're at the age when choices start to matter. Jacob was only 14, but he already understood what took me 41 years to learn. You're going to face choices in your life, hard ones. Choices where the easy path leads one way and the right path leads another. He leans forward, his old bones creaking. When you face those choices, remember the iron cage. Remember that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and choosing right anyway. It's about knowing that who you are matters more than what you have. Ethan nods slowly. I'll remember, Grandpa. I promise. Cole settles back in his chair, looks around the small living room, at the photographs on the wall, at the revolver mounted in its case, at the eagle feather that has followed him through 69 years of life after that night. Good, he says softly. That's good. Outside, the New Mexico sun sets over the Sandia Mountains, painting the sky gold and crimson, the same colors that painted the sky that morning in Redstone Canyon, all those years ago when a broken man found his courage and a caged woman found her freedom. And in a small living room in Albuquerque, an old man closes his eyes and smiles, knowing that the choices we make echo through generations. Knowing that sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same thing. And knowing finally, after 82 years of living, that he made the right choice. The iron cage is empty, the woman is free, and Thomas Cole Brennan can finally rest. The end.